everybody, welcome to Peep Show. This is Until Dawn. I just beat it today, actually. So we're going to be going back. I think... So it's really weird with horror games, because you don't want to spoil anything, but you want to be able to show stuff off. So I think the best thing to do is just start at the very beginning, and just do, like, the opening chapter. I don't even want to, like, load up the episodes thing, because, like, the images from them could spoil things. So, I guess, like, yeah, alright, we'll do a quick cut, like, into the episode. Okay, it's like, this is the start of the game, and it gives you this little thing on, like, what the butterfly effect is, because that's, like, the through line for the entire game, is, what does the butterfly effect mean, like, in the context of a video game and the story that you're, I guess, helping tell, because it's all branching paths, and, like, I would like to be able to...
Like the branching paths of a butterfly's
wing veins. I would love to be able to play this game, like, at least one more time, because there's a certain thing you find out as you play through that could drastically change the way you play the first portion of the game.
Yeah, I heard about what the big twist in this. I'm not going to say it, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I can see that.
And there's a few different twists along the way, which is, I think that's the hallmark of, like, a good horror movie, is it keeps you on your toes and it keeps mind-fucking you over and over again. And that's what this does. And I think, like, one of the really cool things about this being a game is... In, like, a horror movie, they have 2 hours, 2.5 max to tell their story. Here they have 9-ish hours. That's about how long it took me. Maybe a little under 9 hours. So they have a lot more time to spend, like, building character relationships and, you know, building atmosphere. And they can really take their time with a lot of things, which they do.
It's a very unique concept for a game. I mean, you've never really seen something like this.
No, and, like I guess...
Usually horror games are just there to be scary and not really tell a story.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. A lot of times it's not about the story. A lot of times it's about the jump scares and stuff. I think Dead Space is a good example of, you know, them trying to craft, like, a good story around a horror game and succeeding. But, like, Outlast, that's, like, the most generic horror game. Like, oh, it's in an asylum. Okay. And I guess generic... You could fit that moniker on the, like, this whole situation, like, generic horror game moniker, but I think that does the game, like, a great disservice when you do that, because while it doesn't necessarily make any significant steps in the horror, like, as a media genre, I think it makes some significant steps in horror as a video game genre.
Would you say this was genuinely scary?
Yeah, there are, like... Because, like, there are a lot of jump scares. Like, the game hits pretty heavily with the jump scares. But there's also a lot of, like, atmospheric things. So now I'm in control. So a lot of, like, the gameplay segments and cutscene things are super seamless. The first time I played this, the frame rate was really bad. So I'm interested to see if that problem persists. It was spotty. In, like, certain areas, the frame rate was awful. Like, probably easily below 30. And then in other areas, there's, like, really bad texture pop-up. And, I don't know. I guess we're jumping around conversationally a little bit, because I feel like I should address what's going on. So, all of these, like, they're, like, high school kids, and they're up in this cabin for a week or a weekend to party and, like, be cool dudes and get fucked up and fuck. And they think it's funny if her twin, Hannah, this is Beth, Beth's twin, Hannah, who you just saw walking into the room with the glasses, that's how they distinguish from each other, I guess, is wear glasses. All the other kids are going to play a prank on her, because she's, like, super into Mike.
Oh.
Yeah, and Mike already has a girlfriend.
Okay.
I believe at this time Mike already has a girlfriend. So this is your primary, like, interaction. This is very reminiscent of what is it? LA Noire. So you pick up stuff, you manipulate it with the stick to look at it and check it out, and then you let go.
Josh?
It's like that's your primary interaction with the game, is walking around, directing your flashlight or torch or whatever you're carrying at the time, your light source. And see her body and her head will react to where you're looking with the stick, and the camera will also slightly pan. So there's to a degree
to effect. I mean, does that?
Yeah. So you'll see that shined, across the room. You can see a little shining thing. Normally those don't pop up unless you're shining it with a light source. So you really want to canvas entire rooms, and the camera. It's only dynamic to a degree. See, it's on a fixed point. Well, it's almost it feels like a shoulder-mounted camera, like some dude following you around the shoulder-mounted camera. There's a slight sway, kind of an organic movement to it, and that's definitely important when you're navigating areas.
So is the majority of the gameplay QuickTime events and just walking around examining stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's definitely going to be a subsection of the gaming population that's this isn't a game, this is more gone home bullshit,
right.
QuickTime events, yada yada. But,
although
it's not about that.
Right, but I don't know if it's warranted $60 for that. It's not really a game.
And I would have felt the same way before I played it, and I think that's going to be this game's problem, is, before I played it and before I beat it, I would have felt this is totally not worth $60. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So they did that little clandestine shot of her arm there with her butterfly tattoo. That becomes important later.
What are you doing here?
Sort of a dick move.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This all got out of hand, but
Yeah, they all knew that she had a crush on him, and so they played a prank to lure her up there and then get her video reaction of them popping out.
So we rented this.
Yes, we have this via Redbox.
After beating it, would you have paid $60 for this?
I wouldn't have been mad if I had played 60 for it, because I'm gonna return it today after we. And so here's an example of dynamic choices. And these are
Are you timed?
Sometimes, but in heat of the moment stuff you will be, but right now I'm not. It's before I tried to wake Josh, but so this time, just for the sake of seeing what happens, I'm gonna try and just immediately go get the others.
Someone outside. What the hell?
I don't think anything different happened. I think I just didn't try to wake Josh. Because before, when you tried to wake him, he just was kind of super drunk and passed out. I was like, whoa, what? And then didn't move.
It was just a prank, Han. What did you do?
we're just messing around, Beth. It wasn't
So-
serious.
And, alright, when I first started playing it, the characters, really grated on me, because they're all super annoying, tropey characters. But after, I would say a couple hours in, I started to really warm up to everyone, and, I mean, there were definitely characters that
Oh, shit.
I tried to make things happen to them, because I wasn't a huge fan of them. Here's an example of the QuickTime events. And I'm going to try the fast route. So when you do the fast route, there's more QuickTime events, and you have less time to hit the button, is my understanding. I always chose the fast routes on my playthrough, because it always seemed like the best option. Because I was always confident in my ability to... let's follow the noise this time. I followed the footprints last time. I bet something really shitty happens if you follow the noise.
Damn it, Hannah. Where are you?
Oh, there she is. No shit. Alright, I'm gonna follow her now. I feel like following the shadow would be a really bad idea. And I don't know, this game... It feels like it's two horror movie plots happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
Which... And then here's a little touchpad stuff that you do. You'll flip pages and stuff with the touchpad. So here I'm controlling the light. And, animation... this game's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. And I don't seem to be having the frame rate issues that I was having before. So that must... they might have patched it? I don't know. Or it might have just been a random one-time dealio. So I can hold L1 and she'll move a little bit faster. There was a jump scare that I was talking through. But yeah, I don't know. Did we leave off any conversation midway?
I don't
'Cause I
think
got distracted. All right. So here's a totem, and you'll collect these throughout. If you pick them up and look at them, they'll show you a potential future. So that was a death totem. It was the color black. They're different colors that'll show you different types of forecasts. I didn't find those particularly helpful. They're all kind of intentionally super vague and weird. I think it's just a nifty little take on a collectible. So if I hit R1, I've collected a lot of totems on my playthrough. I didn't get anywhere near all of them, but that is interesting to know. And then these are like all the really big choices, and they have little vague names for them, and you'll unlock them as you go. And then character info will also update. So you'll see those are her starting lines, and then your different choices and actions will affect those. And during my playthrough, I didn't find that it really affected much of anything.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of this.
I think it was like just a feedback thing for the player to be like, okay, you're not really playing her as a romantic character. You're playing her as more brave and curious.
Does that matter?
Not in a gameplay sense, but like in like the story you're
wants
crafting.
To really roleplay here.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yikes. So it keeps all that stuff. I'm gonna quickly scroll past that so we don't see any of those. But so there's the twins. There's like stuff on the twins. There's stuff on a mystery man and stuff on 1952, and that's where like that whole like second movie thing comes
sort
in.
of tailors the fear to things you're afraid of. Yes.
Yeah. I don't think we'll get there
Right.
in the Peep Show.
But
Well, we might. We might get to like the initial little bit of it.
my God,
I'll try
yes,
to get that far.
Here, take my coat.
I might sneeze here in a second. Bless me. I was so cold from the snow that I sneezed. So they're gonna GTFO. I think there's some quick time events here. It's like later in the game, if someone falls behind you, it'll typically give you a choice: keep running or go back for them, kind of a thing. And that's part of the fun of the game, is like making those decisions, like to either help or ignore the different characters. So that happens.
I'm still really stuck on the fact, like, I mean, I really enjoyed Heavy Rain. I thought Heavy Rain was a really good game. That game is all like quick time events and making choices and stuff. I mean, that's all that game is. And like, I really enjoyed that. And I tried Beyond Two Souls, and what really got me
So
off
I have
of
a
that-
time thing here.
Oh, okay, so
I let go before. I'm gonna try dropping Hannah just to see what happens. Peace.
Oh, that's brutal.
Okay, so she falls anyways. Good to know. So that totem we found foresaw that little snippet of a scene.
And that wasn't avoidable,
Yeah.
right?
So that particular one was unavoidable. So the twins fell and probably dead.
I told you
So
can't
here,
change
the
what's
Analyst.
gonna
This is what happens between chapters. There's 10
happen. You can only
chapters.
affect the future.
Um,
And move on.
this stuff is really weird. Like, it's super trippy,
Oh, God.
but it becomes kind of explained later on, or you at least get more context for it later on.
With this game,
So this is fourth wall breaking, yes. He's
I
talking
want
to
to
us.
help you see it through.
Maybe.
Oh.
I'm not going to confirm nor
is
deny
that a
that he is
spoiler
talking to
thing?
the player.
These
It could be.
things can be a little scary,
Um,
and terrifying, but I'm here to make sure that no matter how upsetting things,
that was also a really fun thing about this game is
find a way to work through it.
sometimes you think they're fourth wall breaking, but they might not be, and sometimes they actually are, and maybe not. There's a lot of like back and forthy kind of stuff.
And I want you to look at
I don't know. I really liked this game, kind of like as an experimental thing. And like I said, I wouldn't have been angry if I had been caught spending $60 on it, because I would probably get 3 different playthroughs out of it. It's about 9 hours each. Probably a little less on my subsequent ones. Alright, so Cornfield the Scarecrow.
So, how did that?
I'm gonna switch up my answers this time.
Feel? Remember, be honest.
I feel uneasy.
Honesty is good. What do you think it is that makes you feel uneasy?
The Scarecrow.
Well, I see. Let's say the Scarecrow were not there. Would you feel comfortable staying there on your own for a period of time? Let's say a week, for example.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, no? Why not?
I'd be lonely.
There's a fine line between the peacefulness of solitude and the loneliness of isolation. Perhaps.
So, like, I mean, like, this game, it just looks so good. Like,
Yeah,
every area, and there are a lot of areas, is lovingly rendered and decorated and just, like,
Until the next step.
flawless. But
And, until
in my
then,
playthrough, like I said, I had those weird little bits of, like, frame stutters and texture pop-in that kind of brought me out of it a little bit. But I don't seem to be seeing any of that now. I mean, they're not all that short. Some are a little bit longer. Little stints with the Analyst. And then here's your title card. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want to show a whole lot more of it. I'm gonna maybe... Here we go. So if you pause it, it sort of brings up the main menu, which is kind of cool. Also, from in-game, like... you guys probably didn't see it before because I did a quick cut, but it loads into the game immediately. Like, it's immediate. So, I mean, it takes, like, a few seconds to load up from, like, you know, the main PlayStation menu, but, like, once you're in the game, it's fucking, like that. It is super quick, which I really appreciate.
If you move the right stick, does it move his face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can change the way he's looking.
I saw a post on Reddit. People were just like doing circles and like giving the characters like seizures.
Making him look at you. That's pretty good. I can entertain myself. Man, when he looks right at you, that's creepy as fuck. But yeah, like, there's just like, there's a fidelity to this game that I feel like you don't always see. And, because, you know, like, what was it? Beyond Two Souls did the whole, like, really capturing a person's, like, real face and using it, and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare did that. But, you know, this just, it looks awesome. It looks really good. And there's a lot of different characters, and I can't imagine the amount of mocap and, like, voice work they had to do for this game. Like, all the different things that play out, all the different scenarios, the different dialogue choices.
How different do you think, like, the scenarios play out there?
That's what I want to find out. I want to find out, like, what are the, like,
how different could each playthrough be?
Yeah, like really, really how different. So when I ended the game, there were certain things that happened that I would really like to try to avoid, because at the very end of the game, I made like a split-second decision that turned out to be a mistake that I shouldn't have made, and it cost me some of the answers I was really wanting. Well, maybe not answers is the right word. I'm trying to be intentionally vague. But I'm wondering if, because my status of like all the collectible things didn't reset, if I branch off and go to different places and look at different things in different orders and such, if I'll find the rest of that. And so it's, you know, you're not supposed to be able to get everything the first time through, or you're supposed to like go through and get everything second or third time. And it's not always about, you know, choosing the opposite of what you would do, because a lot of choices are pretty morally ambiguous, pretty gray area stuff. But I don't know, like, if that's the kind of thing that interests you, like, you know, you play like the Telltale's games, like The Walking Dead, where, you know, they'll remember that kind of a thing. This has a similar deal where a little butterfly icon will pop up and flutter in the corner and burst or whatever. This does a lot of that. And I really like that, the branching story path thing. I think that's super, super cool.
Yeah, sure. And,
you know, barring the technical issues that I had on my first playthrough that, you know, pulled me out of it a little bit, I was genuinely scared several times. A lot of jump scares did get me. I'm not great with jump scares normally, like in movies or whatever. So I'm not surprised that some of them really, really got to me. But there were a lot of areas also that, even though like I felt like I knew what was going on, the game had so many twists and turns that it kept me guessing and kept me on the edge of my seat and worried about what was going to happen next. So I think they did a really, really good job. All of the performances are fucking top notch. Like really, really solid actor work. Good writing. It's very horror movie tropey. Like I've seen a lot of horror movies, and this I feel like it pulls from a very wide pool of those. Yeah. But it knows it, and it knows you know it. Okay, hold on. It knows that it's tropey, but it also knows that you know it's tropey, so it toys with your expectations a lot, like any good horror movie would do.
So you've talked it up. What's your criticism?
My criticism is the L1 button for moving quicker doesn't move you very much quicker, and there are certain areas where I would really like to get going.
Well, they don't want you to, though. I mean, that was probably intentional.
Yeah, but like, and any time where there's like actual action that's going to be happening, you're not controlling it. You're doing QuickTime events. You're not controlling the character's movement. They'll be running and animating without you. So, I don't know. Like, all of that stuff is instantaneous, though. So, I mean, you could be walking around and turn a corner, and the next thing you know, you're running for your life. Like, there are no loading screens apart from the chapters. And that's mainly just to give you a break to talk to the analyst before moving on. But I don't know, like criticisms, I don't know. Like I guess $60 might be a stretch, but I don't know. Like I feel like I can't give it a super fair wrap-up statement right now. I feel like I need to think about it for a couple days, or like I would need to play through it again. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a review for it. I might. It's really hard to... I just have a hard time writing reviews without spoiling stuff. Like, that's always been a problem. But especially for something like this.
Like a spoiler alert at the beginning.
Yeah, I guess. But then, what's the point of the review? Because, like, the whole thing about this game is... It's not going to be fun for you to play if you already know what's going to happen. And that's what worries me about like a second playthrough, but that's part of the experimentation is finding out what could happen differently.
Back and forth all over the place.
Yeah, I know. That's just like a testament to how effective this game is with kind of fucking with your head. Because I'm just super wish-washy over whether or not to recommend it to a wide audience, or like strictly like horror film lovers, or people who like The Walking Dead stuff, or rather Telltale games, people who like the branching story path things. I mean, I guess it could appeal to any of those people, but like, I don't think there's gonna be much there for the average audience. Maybe it's so hard to tell with something like this that's so unique and experimental. But I don't know. I would recommend people at least try it.
Rent it.
Rent it, pick it up used, whatever your bag is. I think it's something that everyone should at least try to see if this is a kind of a project that interests you and kind of jives with you. I don't know. I feel like I need a couple days to digest it, and maybe I'll be able to talk about it better on next week's podcast, but I don't know. I had fun.
All right. Well, there you go.
See y'all on the next Peep Show.